right, Chris, so we already discussed Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters. Give me another toy off the top of your head from the 80s. We'll start with the 80s. That was on top of your list. That was what you really, really, really wanted for Christmas.
Oh man, you're really putting me on the spot. Who didn't want Teddy Ruxpin? Teddy Ruxpin, Tim, is the first thing that comes to mind.
And that's interesting because I'm looking at a list right now of top toys from the 1980s, and Mr. Teddy Ruxpin just happens to be number 2.
Okay.
5 words on why kids totally wanted this. It was a talking bear.
Here we go. Enough said.
Now, what's funny about this toy, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will remember, was like it seemed so technologically advanced at the time when you put a cassette into the back of this thing, and it would just literally have a very simple animatronic mouth that would move, and it kind of felt like he was reading you a book.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, now I'm very curious to see what my niece or nephew would think of it, but back then, damn it, Teddy Ruxpin was a magical bear. He read a lot of storytime books to me. I stopped hanging out with most of my friends so I could hang out with Teddy. And he might have screwed me up psychologically because I stopped interacting with humans and I just interacted with this bear.
Well, do you want to know how he screwed me up psychologically?
I would love to.
Didn't have him. So psychologically, once again, while you were raking in Ghostbuster toys and Ninja Turtles, and apparently that wasn't enough, Teddy Ruxpin had to just enter your repertoire of things Chris Castro had that Tim LeBeau didn't. Also, was Grubby? Was that his friend?
Yes, Grubby.
The little caterpillar?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, did you have Grubby?
I didn't have Grubby, so you can't hate me for that.
Okay, good. Now, with that said, I'm going to say that my favorite toy or toys were G.I. Joes, which are very simple. I was very big on action figures.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how they were a pretty small size. You could have a bunch of them. You could pretty much interact them with any other toy you had. Like I had a Tonka truck. See, I did have some toys. And you could play, just take a Tonka truck out, have 6 or 7 G.I. Joes. Next thing you know, you get a scenario, and that was cool. And that was mostly what I played with as a kid, outside of obviously Ninja Turtles. I had a couple of the Ghostbuster toys that we discussed, but that one was my numero uno favorite for the time period.
Yeah, I took you as a Transformers kid.
I had Transformers as well. I was going to discuss that here in a minute as we went through the list. However, yes, I did like Transformers as well, and they had a lot of good toys. I didn't have a ton of them. I only had a few of those. I always wanted Optimus Prime. Never had him. My cousin had him. Hated my cousin for having him because I didn't. Although I did get a couple of hand-me-downs from my cousin. That was not one of them, however. I did score Castle Grayskull
nice. Okay.
The He-Man series for my cousin later on down the road, which was pretty decent. However, I have to say, and I'm not complaining, but it was a little bit beat down by the time I got it. But actually sitting in the very house that I was sitting in as we speak, that Castle Grayskull came through the door as a surprise from my aunt, kind of, sort of, hand-me-down surprise from my cousin.
Well, that was a favorable hand-me-down, I think.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I wish I still had it. It's worth a lot of money. It was like $300 or $400 at Toy Vault now. Anyway, I'm going to start this list, and we'll go through a few things, and we will stop at anything we want to elaborate on. So here's 35 toys 80s kids wanted for Christmas. And I'd like to take a moment before we go through this list to mention that we are getting this from BuzzFeedInc.com. They are a very good source for this type of list. I know we had mentioned Fandom in our previous episodes, another great site, but we have now swapped over to BuzzFeed, who has put this list together. I looked through the list. I liked what I saw, so let's discuss. So, oddly enough, as you joked about towards the end of our last podcast, number 1 on this list, Lite-Brite.
Oh, wouldn't you know? Wow.
Now, this is a toy I never had, but I think every kid probably played with. I think.
Hold on, wait. Shh. Do you hear that?
No.
I do. It's the Lite-Brite theme song. Hit it, Tim.
Lite-Brite, the toy that lets you create beautiful pictures with light.
That was magical. What a great song.
So, Lite-Brite, I did not own. Did you own it?
You gonna hate me if I say yes?
Yes.
Then I did not own it.
So you did own it. However,
I sure
it
did.
doesn't matter because I played with it a ton. Because in my classroom growing up, we had this. And when we did like indoor recess, this was like one of the stations. Well, we have like you could go play blocks, you could do this, you could do that. And there was one station, I'm not sure on the specifics of the station, but there was a light bright located at that station. And I remember every time I got that station, I went directly to the light bright. You
Yeah.
probably didn't because you were probably like, I have all these toys, I'm so bored.
Yeah, I was over as, it really didn't amuse me. I was just like, what am I, at home?
But anyway, for those of you who don't know, light bright, very simple. Just basically a board that lit up and you had various colored pegs that you could stick into the board and create shapes. And they would be obviously the various colors. So you could create kind of like works of art. Like I'm looking at the picture right now and there's two kids creating a clown. Now, typical situation where I could never duplicate any of these things they showed you on the commercials or on the boxes.
No, these damn kids. I mean, was I really supposed to make, if you look and like you were saying, Tim, you can follow along on the BuzzFeed article here, but these kids did not make that damn clown.
I don't believe it for a minute.
No.
And then it's funny. So it's not recommended for children under the ages of 4, which is, I always find an odd cutoff date or year 4. So it's like, if you're 5, it's good. But if you're 4, you're not, it's not good. Now I understand it has to be a cutoff, but why 4? Like you figure at this point, just cut it off at the age kids start school.
Right.
And it says caution, electric toy. As with all electric products, precautions should be taken during handling and use of this product to prevent electric shock. So maybe the age on this ought to have been a little bit more
15.
Yeah.
Mommy, can I have a light bright? No. Why? Because you're 3. But my birthday's tomorrow. You're going to be 4? Yes, you should know that, Mommy. Then tomorrow you'll get the light bright. You'll be much more mature and you'll be able to handle this electric toy.
But Mommy, can I have milk while I play with it?
No. It's electric.
Why not, Mommy?
You'll spill
You'll spill milk on. You'll spill it on there and die.
You'll kill yourself.
Remember your brother Scotty? He had a light bright.
It was a light fright.
And I let him play with it when he was 3.5.
And that's why you're an only damn child.
And now he's dead. Anyway. So we meant number 2, Teddy Ruxpin. We just talked about that. Number 3. This is a very, I'm not sure if this was a product line or just a general, I think it was a product line, I guess. They're calling them play tents. And I see Fisher Price on the label.
No, I didn't have this, but this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very similar to some of the ones you had that went over your bed and things like that. It was essentially just a little tent type for a kid. It would pop up real quick. Kids have them today too. So nothing crazy there. You had the Fisher Price cassette tape player coming in at number 4. And just want to mention as we go along here, Fisher Price seems to dominate a lot of these, which is no surprise. Just a standard tape recorder. Don't think we're going to spend too much time on that one. We had the colorful.
Although I will say you could record yourself with that Fisher Price cassette tape player.
Yeah, very similar to kind of like a little bigger version of it than a Talk, probably a little bigger than a Talk Boy. I actually had that Fisher Price cassette tape player. The color forms, you had the books, which is basically your favorite IP. Rainbow Bright, I see here, a Cabbage Patch Kids. I remember they had them for a lot of other different IPs as well. And so you would essentially get a sheet of stickers, which were like plastic stickers that essentially stuck to a board, kind of using static electricity. And you would just rearrange the shapes and create different scenes. Pretty simple.
It's funny because I looked really quick. I was scrolling through this list here, and I thought it was chloroform. And I was going to say, I don't remember that being a toy, but maybe that was the whole point of the chloroform.
Well, that time period.
Toy, yeah.
Yeah, it came with Light Bright. You dump the chloroform onto the Light Bright, and you could do like experiments.
The good old ladies.
Only if you were 4 years old, though.
Right.
So I'm looking at number 6. We get the Garfield stuffed animals. Everyone had those. Nothing much to talk about there. Maybe not everyone had those, but I mean, what I'm saying, it was popular. You've seen them. People used to stick them on the back seats of a window of the cars, things like that.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
The Fisher Price medical kit. I had this. I am proud to say I had this, and I'm also not so proud to say that a friend of mine had a little sister. I used to go over there. I used to get babysat at the house, and I thought it would be funny because I didn't really realize the magnitude of what I was doing here, to put the stethoscope in her ears and then grab the other end and yell into it.
Yeah, I think everyone did that.
Yeah, but that was bad. She was crying, and then I got yelled at.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was cool. You had the needle, you had the little fake bottle of medicine, everything pretty much plastic and cheap. You had
Gave a lot of shots with this.
yes, you could take the blood pressure, but all it really did was spin the needle around like crazy when you hit the button, when you push the little pump. But
So back in the 80s, everyone was vaccinated thanks to Fisher Price.
yes, and that's why we didn't have measles.
Right.
Anyway, you have Casey the Talking Robot. Once again, a plan. A very popular thing with the 80s was having cassette players for kids. Same concept. It was a robot shape. You could put a cassette in, kind of like a mixture between the earlier Fisher Price cassette tape player and Teddy Ruxpin, in a sense, because the robot had a face, and I think it was a little bit animated and things like that. Care Bears.
Hey, huh? Do you hear that?
No.
I do. Hey, is that the Care Bears theme song?
I wanna be a Care Bear. Oh, it'll be so great when I'm a Care Bear. Well, I can hardly wait to be a Care Bear and do the things that Care Bears do. Oh, I wanna be a
Cabbage Patch Kids dolls.
Wait, we're not going to talk about Care Bears?
No, I'm not going to talk about Care Bears. I'm skipping ahead.
Okay.
Cabbage Patch Kids dolls. I didn't own one. Did you own one?
You know what? I did.
You would own one. What didn't you? You just owned this because it was popular. Just say you owned it.
I did, and I wasn't sure if I should. Because none of my other friends had, or at least admitted that they had a Cabbage Patch Kid doll.
It's okay that you owned one. It's just, what didn't you own, you know?
Yeah.
Going next to a very popular toy when I was growing up, and that I'm proud to say that I actually owned, Popple.
You own the Popple?
I owned the Popple. Those are essentially little animals that you could roll up into a sack, more or less.
Okay.
They kind of, because it was some, you know, as it says right here, because it was something appealing about turning these things into a ball shape. I don't know what was appealing about it. I can remember bringing it to the playground and being like, "Look at my Popple. Do you think it's a ball? No, it's an animal." But it didn't even look like a ball. It made literally no sense.
Show a lot of Popples, Tim?
But I had one
Okay.
Popple.
You show off your Popple a lot?
It was a lot of kids wanted to see my Popple, but I hid it inside its sack. So
Moving on, we got Garbage Pail Kids.
yes, Garbage Pail Kids, love these. Collected it. I'm not gonna say I had them all, 'cause I'm sure I didn't, but I felt like I did. I had a ton of these.
So they still sell these at the, what's the name of that store? The Toy Vault,
Yes.
where you can go and you can get old school cards. I was just talking about this with a friend Ray, and Garbage Pail Kids. Yeah, they still sell these, made by
Yeah,
Tops.
they had them. You can still buy them in the wax box sets. I think you can buy the whole.
Yeah, you can buy the whole
actual original
box.
wax
Yep.
box set.
Yep.
And because, they were what all the cool kids in school had, according to this, even if they were more than a little horrifying. And also, and this is a good part, I'm glad I said this part because I forgot about this, these cards were stickers. So you could peel them off and stick them places. And I remember getting my mother very aggravated because I stuck these all over my wall in my room. Probably not a good idea.
Another thing that was all the rage was stickers.
Yes, and I'm sure we're going to see more of that on this list. Number 13, Little Tikes kitchen sets.
I might cry.
No, I was going to say not much to say about these, but apparently you like these.
I had this, and I didn't remember until just this moment that I had this.
Where did you
Oh,
put all
God.
this stuff?
So this is back. This was back, I think, when we moved to the Tiverton house when I forget how old I was, but I think
When you
that stayed.
when
back
you ran
in-
out of room for your toys,
yeah,
and you
and
moved to a
forced
bigger
my
house?
parents to move. But I do remember having this, I think, at the old house. So my first house.
So yeah, just your standard playset, 80s style kitchen.
Mhm.
I mean, we still have these today, just
Yeah.
variously upgraded. My daughter had one actually, and it was like interactive. You could use it with an app to make like sound effects and all kinds of
Oh, cool.
kind of wild things like
I
that. So it's cool.
remember using the phone, the little rotary phone that they had.
Oh, yeah, I can see it right
Made
there.
a lot of long distance call. Who wrote up this bill?
I think it's
What? Why is my phone bill so expensive? I don't know. Who's making long distance calls? I don't know. A lot of those conversations.
yeah, because you were probably using the wrong phone.
Yeah.
Why'd you move my toy phone into the kitchen, mommy?
We didn't.
Well, I'm confused where the kitchen ends and my toys end because they're everywhere. I own every damn toy ever made,
Right.
literally. Number 14, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't think we need to say anything more about those. Number 15, Make It and Bake It Oven. Now, this is such a blatant ripoff of the Easy Bake Oven.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even know this existed. Oh, actually, no. I take that back. I take that back. I knew this existed.
Oh, wait a second.
And it wasn't. It's not necessarily a
Right,
ripoff.
right.
I'm looking at it a little further. This was to make oh so pretty and delicate looking plastic jewelry and trinkets.
Okay.
So this is where you would take the material, like you'd fill the metal frame
Mhm.
out. And I must have had one of these, or someone did, because my mother used to hang these
Yeah,
on the window. But
I
remember that.
think our neighbor are going back to my first house. Maybe one of the kids had them because
Yep.
I remember seeing a lot of these hung up.
I don't
Hmm.
remember ever using it, but I definitely remember having those things hanging out, especially that particular Care Bear
Mhm.
I'm looking right there.
That's
I
pretty
don't know.
cool.
Maybe my cousin had one. Yeah, it's cool. My cousin might have had one, gave it to my mom. So I don't know, but I never played with it. The big wheel, big toy. I mean, basically a
Mhm.
small trike for kids, three-wheeler that you could go pretty fast in.
How many big wheel races did you have?
A lot. I love the big wheels. I can remember going to my aunt's, particularly wanting to go to my aunt's, my great aunt's, because her grandson also had a big wheel. And they had a nice area to ride them in too, like up and down hills and things like that. And they were easy to ride. That was the good thing about them. They didn't take much for a kid to go up and down a hill with them.
No.
It wasn't like it was made very well for that. So
Honestly, this probably has more power than my current car that I'm driving now.
they were actually really good. I don't think they make them anymore. They might. I haven't. Who knows? Kids don't go outside anymore anyway. So
Right now, you can ride a big wheel, but you can do it from the safety of your iPad.
yeah, you can just put your virtual reality goggles on and ride a big wheel up the road. And that's exhausting enough and emotionally draining enough for these kids. Number 17, the Viewmaster. This is probably, who didn't own one of these?
Yep, this was our virtual reality.
It was so bad. But I remember sitting there for like hours, like looking at like Mickey Mouse. I had a Mickey Mouse one. And it was
I
the
think I
same
had a-
story over and over again, but I just kept going through it.
Yeah, I think I had a Smokey the Bear one. Because I remember watching like forest fires in this thing.
And then one time my mom ripped it from my hands and I was looking at it too much. And I don't think I ever got it back after that, honestly.
Oh
But
boy.
I had found a couple of films that were like little, I don't know what you call those, rolls, and my dad had a couple in the drawer, and I put those in, and I seen things that I never, a 5-year-old kid should never see. Hey, mommy, why is daddy's got pretty ladies on his Viewmaster?
What's the next toy?
These ladies are pretty.
Oh no.
Give me that toy. That's your uncle. No, it's not. Peaches and Cream Barbie. I might have to keep some of them.
Oh,
in there,
man.
depending. Peaches and Cream Barbie.
That's an
I don't know how
awkward
much to say
segue.
about that. Standard Barbie doll had kind of a peachy green color going to it with a little gown there. I'm not really sure why that was popular. There were tons of other Barbies produced in the 80s, but none of them hold a candle to Peaches and Cream. She was not only pretty and glamorous, but smelled so heavenly. So those of you that were curious about that, that's why she was Peaches and Cream Barbie.
Maybe this was who 112 sang about.
Yeah, maybe. I was actually the first thing I thought about when I saw that Peaches and Cream. Number 19, Snoopy Snow Cone
Oh,
Machines.
yes.
Now here's one we all love, but it makes me laugh because I'm looking inside the hole in front of the toy. And do you remember there was like that metal blade in there? It wasn't really a blade. I'm
Yeah.
exaggerating a little bit, but you could cut your finger on it.
Yep.
And you take the shovel to get the stuff out, as you can see on the right side there. But this is just another example of toys that would never exist today because, I mean, not that dangerous, but dangerous. correct me if I'm wrong here. You would stuff ice, right?
Yes.
Down underneath Snoopy there, and you'd push Snoopy down, and then you turn it, and it would start to crush the ice or shave the ice, I guess you should say. And then you have the flavor in that little snowman over there on the left side, and then you would flavor the ice and eat it.
hmm
Now
You want to get this?
you put
Want to have a snow cone with me sometime?
yeah, it would be nice to put some alcohol in it too.
Okay.
You could put a fully frozen, like right out of the freezer ice cube. There's a contraption in there that shaves that ice down, and you're letting little kids. I wonder what the age limit on this is. You're letting little kids put their fingers near these things. It's kind of funny to think about now. And I do think
Bobby, there's still some snow cone in there.
why is it
Get it out. I'm not cleaning that out, boy.
why does it already have a cherry flavor to it? I haven't even taken it out yet. Oh my god, I'm bleeding.
Bobby. Why don't you call the doctor on the damn phone you've been using so much, boy?
Now I play on the light right now. I just got a shock. Bobby? Bobby's dead.
This is a dark episode.
Bobby's not moving. He's playing with my Monchichi doll, which happens to be number 20 on the list.
Ugh, I don't like these Monchichi dolls.
I know, they freak me out a little bit, actually. I don't even know why these ever caught on. They were cute as hell, according to this, but
From hell.
what really sold you was the addictive jingle in the commercial, which I will insert here.
Monchichi, Monchichi, oh so soft and cuddly. With the thumb in her mouth, she's really neat. Fun to wiggle his little feet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Happy, happy Monchichi. I love you, Monchichi.
Number 21, He-Man and She-Ra action figures. Now, this one is right along the toy lines. We could have did our own, its own episode on, really, if we wanted to, because it's right up there with Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. Had a few of these. I'm sure you must have had a few of these.
Yeah, definitely had a few He-Mans.
I had Castle Grayskull. Like I said, I got the hand-me-down Castle Grayskull.
Mhm.
I was pumped for that. I used to love Orko. I don't think I ever had the Orko action figure, but I had the Orko plush. I
Okay.
remember when school they used to set up like you could go and with a few dollars and like buy your family Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still do it today. Actually, my daughter did it this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
They had Norco. I took and it was like $5 in 80s money. And I think it's what my mother gave me. And instead of buying my family gifts, I bought myself an Orko. And I got in trouble for
Right.
that.
Selfish.
No. It was just, I was like, that kid Chris has got everything over there and Tiffany, and I want a damn
Yeah.
toy. So I got Orko. And I was like, I think I hit it too. I hit it from every, and then eventually my mom was like, where's the money I gave you? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then she's like, well, what's that Orko doll doing over there? Like, somehow I thought I was going to get away with that.
Right. Didn't really think that went up.
No, I honestly did not. But He-Man was awesome. The cartoon was awesome. And the Orko plush doll that I bought for $5 was equally amazing. Mad Balls, number 22. I had Mad Ball. Did you have Mad Ball?
I didn't.
Wow.
Shocking.
I had the baseball, as you can see in the bottom left corner there. And that was the only one I had. But this was really popular. They were kind of like soft. They were lightly filtered air. You just threw them around. They were like hard rubber. They were just, stupid, gimmicky, but fun. They actually had a movie, which was an animated movie, which was
Really?
pretty horrible. Why you totally wanted this, according to this website, is they were gross and disgusting looking, and they were totally meant for throwing. Though it was really not pleasant to get hit with one of these, and that is actually true because I hit my. It's funny when you read these and you start thinking about things. I hit my father with one time when he was sitting on the couch watching television, and he took my Mad Ball away for a while. So that is definitely, something you didn't want to do as a kid. But at the same time, you know how your parents were. They were engrossed in something. You're trying to get their attention, and you're like,
I'm
"Hey,
watching
Daddy,
my
let's have a
show."
catch, and boom.
What?
Yeah. Well, watch this.
Oh, damn.
Right in your eye. Go to your room. Give me your mad ball. I'm going to cry. Anyway, Smurf figures. I'm looking at these and I know what the Smurfs are, but I don't really remember these figures. As a matter of fact, my grandmother had a couple of knickknacks that looked like these. And now I'm starting to wonder if like I had this toy, but she took them and put them as knickknacks.
Could have been. I had a few of these.
'Cause I don't ever remember
Yeah,
playing with them.
these were the mini sets of these Smurfs.
Yeah, I know, and it seems like it made more sense as a knickknack because
Mhm.
they didn't move or do anything. You're looking at it, they were just hard plastic. They were literally the worst. Look at them, like a choking hazard waiting to happen. Put one of those in your mouth and swallow. That's what she said. Number 24, Pound Puppies. I know. I absolutely 110% know Chris Castro owned one of these.
The very one that they show in this picture is the one that I had. I'm trying to think what I called him though.
I used to be so jealous. I didn't have one. And I'm starting to wonder, like, what did I have? I know I had a lot. No, I'm not saying. I know I had a good amount of toys. Although my mother did recently reveal to me that she would take like half my toys away without telling me and then like reintroduce the toys to me like
Huh.
6 months later and I would get excited about them. So I was kind of
You had the same
I don't
4
know,
toys.
I guess I was stupid. Really. No, I'm kind of embarrassed to have admitted that on this podcast.
No, that's all right.
But I used to get so jealous of the kids because they came in that little box that looked like a
Yeah.
little kennel.
Mm-hmm.
And it had like I think you gave a little name tag, give it a name and all that good stuff. But no Pound Puppy for this guy. Guess some guys have all the luck. Number 25. Now here's something I did have. Thundercats figures. And I literally can say that I had every single action figure that is in this photo.
Wow. So
Lionel,
sorry.
Snarf. All love this line. It was one of my favorites. I loved when he would put his face to the sword and say, "Give me sight beyond sight."
So I was not really into Thundercats so much. I actually did have, speaking of hand-me-downs, a hand-me-down figure. What is this one here? This could be embarrassing for Thundercat fans for me to ask this, but what's the one that looks like it's like his head is like a tiger?
Yeah, that's Lionel.
Okay.
Oh, Lionel. Snarf. Yeah. And he was awesome because his eyes lit up and the whole kind of interaction with him and the sword you could do. You hit the button and the light up eyes. And they also had the Battle-matic action, which allowed them to swing their swords when you push the button and all that stuff. So that was kind of cool. Definitely a cool action figure. Number 26, Troll Dolls.
Fugly,
Thoughts?
but magical.
Yeah, I never cared for them much. Simple, play with the hair, kind of fun to keep on your desk at school, but nothing like really worth playing with.
Yeah, I had this one pictured. I don't know how big this one is here, the troll doll that they're showing, but I had the miniature ones, which you could, I think, didn't they also had ones you can put at the end of your pencil?
Yeah, and I always assumed the miniature one was just the most popular one, but
Yeah, that's what I always thought. I don't
Yeah.
quite remember these bigger versions. Although I believe my cousin Holly might have had a lot of troll dolls.
it looks like a deformed Cabbage Patch Kid with long hair.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not familiar with the size. Number 27, Transformers. As we spoke about earlier, one of the coolest toys, one of the coolest cartoons, now a big movie franchise. Can't beat the Transformers. Had a bunch of them. Never had the really big, cool ones. Always wanted Optimus Prime. Never got Optimus Prime. How about you?
Had a few of them. It's funny, whenever I go to the Toy Vault, which is, for anyone listening, I don't know, how big of a chain is the Toy Vault, Tim?
Is that what you're calling your room? Or is this a store you go to?
This is a store.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't know if this is how many Toy Vault stores there are across the U.S., but it's great.
I think it's New England.
Okay.
I think there's like 5 or 6 of them though.
Okay. Amazing store. If you want to go back and you want to relive your childhood, the 80s, 90s, they have all the old toys and whatnot. So I always wander over to the Transformers section because they have the bigger versions, of the Transformers, which are
Yeah, they do.
so cool.
Yes.
And they cost you a pretty penny.
They do, and I still long for them when I go there. I'm like, oh, I'd like to have that. I don't know why. I would do nothing with it, stare at it, but they want like literally hundreds of dollars for these toys.
Yep.
So it's amazing what they go for, and you would think they'd be not as rare because you think people back at that point would have started collecting, but apparently, I mean, I guess the thing is, you give it to a kid, he's not keeping it in a box. You know what I mean? He's gonna go nuts.
Exactly. Yeah. But these definitely were, in terms of if you could go back in time and be like, hey, you know what? Let's just collect this line of toys. These were the ones you wanted to collect.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. If you can go back on a time machine, that'd be the way to go. Number 28, My Little Pony. Didn't have any of these.
Little Pony, My Little Pony.
My little pony, my little pony.
Comb and brush her hair.
Apparently, Chris has a connection. They were magical ponies that came in every color combination imaginable. They also had a delightfully addictive plasticky scent to them.
Love the plastic smell. Nothing like the good old ladies' plastic smell.
So you were like an original brony before bronies were bronies.
Pretty much, yeah.
So you had one of these?
What's the next toy?
My little pony, my little pony.
Comb and
G.I. Joe action figures. Now here is some violent toys that were among my favorites, as I mentioned earlier. See, now this is what I'm going with the age again. Now these are 5 and up, so I can play with a light bright
At 4.
with electricity and all this stuff at 4 years old, but I can't play with the G.I. Joe action figure.
Don't you dare touch that plastic G.I. Joe figure.
I don't understand.
You
that.
go play with your light bright. Plug it in and you go play with it. But keep your damn hands away from this plastic G.I. Joe. You gotta wait another year for that.
Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Tim, what are you doing in there? Nothing, Mom. Just pouring water on my light bright. All right, as long as you're not playing with that G.I. Joe action figure, you're good. Next thing you know, dead. Anyway, you need to amass a decent collection in order to go on all-out battle, which is true. It says with your siblings. I didn't have any siblings, but my neighbors and other friends, and we would just set these things up, and we try to mimic the commercials, but we talked about that in previous episodes. It was next to impossible, so we just threw them around, kind of like, took them and smashed them into each other and things like that. But wicked fun.
See, I had the bigger versions of these G.I. Joe toys. They were kind of like the doll figure versions.
Yeah, like the older version. Yeah. See, these were. I was actually reading about this. These ended up going to this size because of the popularity of the Star Wars action figures that were these size. So G.I. Joe, I think it was, I don't know if it was Hasbro, decided to capitalize on that and take their popular G.I. Joe toy and make it smaller so that would appeal to that market and give it a cartoon, and it worked. There was a ton of these too. There was all kind of characters, which I thought was really cool. Speak and Spell.
You sound like Arnie having sex for the speak and spell.
Just another, advanced electronic toy in the 80s where it was meant for learning, and you would, type a word out and it would say it to you, basically. And I believe, would it tell you to spell a word and then you could? It was kind of like a game. It would say like spell red, and then you would type R-E-D in if you got it and hit enter.
So shockingly, I didn't have this one. My friend had this, and I don't really remember because I refused to learn. I said, "You're not tricking me, adults. This thing is going to try to make me learn."
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's true. Tricksy little.
I'm going back
adults.
to my light bright.
Yeah, I'm gonna go shock myself. Screw this speak and spell. I can't shock myself in a speak and spell because it's all enclosed. I wonder what the age limit on this was. I can't see it from here, but probably 3 and 4. Yeah, 15. Who knows? The Fisher Price 1, 2, 3 roller skates, which
I
were
had
basically
these.
really cheap roller skates. You could, I guess, just lock your sneakers into. Really.
Pretty much. This is why I have ankle problems currently. Current day. Took a lot of spills on
So
these
you have-
damn skates.
Ankle problems from a toy you played with back
Yeah.
in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because you badly wanted to be a
That's
big
right.
kid and learn how to skate. That's what they're saying
You
about
got it.
this toy. Well, they still have them. I actually got some for my daughter. I don't know if they were Fisher Price, but they're a very similar concept. She doesn't really use them. They're kind of crappy. Gem and the Holograms. And only thing I can really say about this toy is it was truly outrageous.
Yeah, I didn't have any gem. toys, but our friend Scott did.
Yeah, I know he did. And if you couldn't actually be Jem, which I think broke Scott's heart at that point in his life, at least you could pretend to be her through this doll. Plus, she came with a cassette tape with the songs from the TV show. Perfect for him to sing along with. Oh, I'm sorry, for you to sing along with. I didn't mean to sing with him out.
Right.
1933. Why am I saying 1933?
I don't know.
33. Little Tyke's Cozy Coop. What's funny about this is I have one of these in my hallway as we speak. These have not gone out.
Those are the sounds I used to make as a kid in my little tight cozy coop. I used to love this thing.
I never had one.
All the kids in the neighborhood that were a bit older than me used to push me around in this.
But this might be the oldest toy in the history of the world because it's essentially Fred Flintstone's car. With a roof.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But it did have a gas tank.
But
a little cap.
Which was kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But with the roof, doors you could open, and even a gas tank cap, like you just mentioned. You must have just read that before I did. It felt like you were actually driving your own car, which I mean, technically you were, just with your feet.
Hey, let's go get that little gas can that Dad puts for the lawnmower. Let's go grab it and put it into my little tight cozy coop.
And then maybe, yeah.
Then once I have all the dripping gasoline on my hands, I'll go play with my Light Bright.
Yep. And we'll just combust to our death.
Put that G.I. Joe down, go play with the gasoline in your cozy coop.
4 years old or older, so you were right to die that way.
Right.
Big Papa popcorn maker. I have no idea what the hell this thing is. And this looks early 80s too, by the ad.
Holy bleep. Bleep that out, will you? Because I didn't have this as a kid, but I think my parents did.
It was like a practical thing to use in the kitchen.
This is this is something I definitely shouldn't have been playing with. This is just a legit popcorn maker. And I totally recognize
safer than the Light Bright though.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is not a toy. Oh, so they're even admitting this.
Oh.
But be honest, you wanted one badly to make movie nights even better. And you were probably jealous of your friend whose family owned one. We weren't friends at the time, but your family owned one. So if I went back, I would be jealous. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't have one of these. We just simply had the bags that went in the microwave, and that's all I got, which I'm not complaining about because those were delicious. And finally, and we had to figure this was going to make the list, Nintendo Entertainment System. In the 1980s, this was the gold standard when it comes to gifts you could get for Christmas. The only downside was you did actually have to share it with your brothers or sisters.
Unless you didn't have brothers and sisters, right?
Yes. And I did have this toy. And I believe, I don't really want to call it a toy. It's a console now, right? And I know, I'm assuming you had this toy.
Of course, I can vividly remember opening the box. My dad's there, he's opening it. My mom's was actually, I don't know why, pretty excited for me. She didn't know how I was just going to drive her up the wall. Yeah, and I remember the first game, of course, was Mario and the Duck Hunt.
Yes, and I remember I got this for my 7th birthday. My father bought it from Zayre's, which then, you might not even remember that. But I remember he bought it with me there and told me that he was buying it for a colleague of his son. And I threw a freaking hissy fit because he tricked
I'm sure that made him feel really good about this purchase.
About treating me to this, yeah. Well, but then again, he was being really mean about it and telling me that this was things my father would do to me. I remember one time we had Red Sox tickets, and I was my first Red Sox game. I was dying to go, and he came to my room and he told me he was going to take my Uncle Mike instead of me. Once again, threw a freaking hissy fit. I remember my mother yelling at him, "What are you doing to the kid? He's not crying." I wasn't crying. I was just upset. Anyway, so same thing happened with Nintendo. And we got home, and he's like, finally reveals that it was mine. And I run to the room, we hook it up and play Mario. And I can remember my father being like, "Wow, the graphics are amazing." And it's just so funny to look at it now. I mean, the thing's still playable. It's awesome. But the graphics weren't exactly amazing. But at the time, it was like playing arcade games, like right in your own, like literally what the advertisement said, which playing arcade games right in your own living room.
It's so funny how with these gaming systems, I'm sure, when Atari came out, people were like, wow, look at these graphics. And then, Nintendo comes out, wow, look at this. And then it was Sega and Super Nintendo. And I remember same thing. And N64, got it for Christmas, and NFL Quarterback Club, I believe it was 98 or 99. And I said, wow, look at these graphics. They'll never get any better than this.
Yeah, and I remember...
And they've come a long way.
They have, but I remember when we started our band in 2009, you and Ray were still playing that game on your 64 console. I remember saying, what
I
is
still
this?
have a picture. Yeah.
You're like, oh, we just finished the season. You won a championship. We took a picture or something.
Yes, exactly. Maybe we can post this at some point in a future podcast. Maybe when we do a podcast about video games.
Yeah, which is bound to happen.
Of course.
Anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode. If you like the show and you want to help us out, just basically tell a friend, spread the word. Check out the channel on YouTube, Quick Diz Takes. We have a bunch of Disney stuff on there, as the name suggests. Also, a lot of these freeform podcasts, and we will continue with them. Not just Disney, though. A lot of things. I'm going to be doing a lot of vlogging around New England and kind of showing you where we live and things like that, because obviously I don't live in Disney and can't be consistently at the park. So if you want to contact us, you can hit me up at Quick Diz Takes, which used to be the backside of W1, but I switched my handle name. So at Quick Diz Takes on Twitter, the backside of water at iCloud.com for email, or check us out on Instagram. Once again, this is Quick Diz Takes podcast, freeform style. I'm your host, Tim LeBeau.
And I'm your serpent, Chris. Huh?
Who got shocked too many times by a light bright, I think.
Lied. All right. Lied. Out!
Freeform, over and out.
Light Bright, the toy that lets you create beautiful pictures with light. Work with colorful pegs that glow with light, light bulb not included. Make people, animals, things, and with refills, Bugs Bunny or Bozo the Clown. You can make lots of pretty pictures with Light Bright from Hasbro.